The Motorway service station, an expensive yet seemingly essential collection of all the calorific food outlets you could ever require, along with a room temperature coffee to wash it all down with. Delightful. The first proper motorway service station to open was Watford Gap on the M1. Or it was Newport Pagnell on the M1. There seems to be some debate as to which was first. The year was 1959 and it was a glorious time for the motorist, with these newfangled motorways opening, offering a speed limit free journey across the finest of tarmac.
Take it easy, motorist.
Oh, you can go as fast as you like, you know.
Today, motorway service stations offer everything we need, but mostly in tin box buildings that are lacking in any real character, a stark contrast to the service station of yesteryear.
I've never been more thrilled to be at a service station.
In the early years of motorway travel, service stations were seen as destinations, each offering a unique experience not found anywhere else. There were proper dining rooms along with table service and maybe better food, and in some cases you'd find elaborate art design and architecture. Back to today, and it's fair to say that the magic might have worn off a little bit, with motorway service stations no longer seen as the exciting dining destinations that they once were, and instead seen as somewhere to have a piss. It should be no surprise then that over the years some of the smaller service stations have closed due to a lack of customers, and we're going to take a look at one such service station. My location is about 9 miles northwest of Leicester, in Leicestershire. And in preparation for this video I skim-read the Wikipedia page on Leicester, and they make no mention of red Leicester cheese, so I'm not sure it can be trusted. I digress. So, junction 22 of the M1, 9 miles northwest of Leicester, near a place called Markfield. It's where we find this abandoned motorway service station that opened in 1989. It managed to survive 25 years in a competitive industry before finally closing in 2014. Despite being closer to Markfield than Leicester, when it opened it was called Leicester Services, and it was built by Granada, a company who were in competition with Welcome Break, who by coincidence had a services of their own a few miles to the south called Leicester Forest East. That opened in 1966. Granada hoped to take some of the business away from Welcome Break, and in an effort to deter Welcome Break from expanding their site, built a hotel alongside the services, offering customers an overnight stay, if you want. The start of the end for Leicester or Markfield services would be in the mid-90s, when lots of complicated buyouts, mergers and reshuffles of organisations happened. That's a story for another time, but after all of that, Granada had become Moto, a company that still operate motorway services to this day, and they took on responsibility for the site at Markfield.
There's red paint around the top of the building, which is actually Granada's colour scheme. They were the guys that built and owned the site in the first instance. The lighter green, aquamarine blue colour, that's a Moto colour scheme. So when they took over the site, obviously they've repainted to suit their brand. But as time has gone on, the old Granada original paintwork is starting to show through.
As part of all this reshuffling, Moto lost ownership of the hotel and the restaurant that operated on site. And whilst that would have resulted in a loss of revenue to Moto, they were at least able to charge a fee to any new businesses that would have taken on the hotel or restaurant. The site saw moderate amounts of footfall over the years, but with effectively 3 businesses operating on site, there was no real strategy ever developed to move the site forward and grow it as a business. The revenue from many fees and the low amount of customers allowed the site to tick along, but it was never really destined for great things. And then in 2008, the restaurant would close. It was quickly rebranded and set up as a Costa Coffee, but they soon pulled out not long after setting up shop, perhaps a sign of what was soon to come. Moto would then sell off their investment in the site not long after, and Eurogarages would begin leasing the site, who in 2014 closed the main building without any real explanation. It seems that Eurogarages may have been more interested in investing their time and efforts in other projects. And indeed, the petrol station closed a few years later in 2020. Today, it all sits in a very disused state, with the original cross-shaped building still in situ. When it first opened, it was a very simple affair. The service station offered just about enough of whatever you needed. The restaurant that was here operated on a 24-hour basis and offered a proper sit-down Sunday lunch. Several brands and outlets would come and go over the years, but Burger King, Costa and Coffee Nation were some of the last to occupy the main building. The victor in all of this would be the hotel next door. As part of the mid-90s reshuffling, it was rebranded as a travel lodge and has somehow managed to escape closure. Today, Travelodge remains the only trading business on the site. Everything else has been abandoned and left behind.
It's a real shame I can't get inside to show you what we can see, because if you look through the grates and the holes close enough, you can actually see that inside the electricity is still running because there are lights on, but more so you can see there's still items in there. There's still things left behind from all those years ago, which is absolutely fascinating to me, but I can't get to it. It's out of reach. I really want to have a look inside though, don't you?
So is there a future for Markfield services? Well, that seems quite unlikely. There doesn't appear to be any plans in place to redevelop the site or really do anything at all with it. So for now, it's just going to sit there, and maybe one day it'll become an insurance claim following an arson attack, or maybe redeveloped into luxury flats. Probably both. Thanks for watching.